What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 22 of the Roundup. The season is about to start, which means weekly episodes of the Roundup are coming. And I finally get to use the thumbnail. Obviously, if you're not aware, this was the second choice for the Champs thumbnail after Optic won Champs. But I had to use it. This is the best opportunity to use it because we're talking about the 2025 Championship. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about Clayster joining the Falcons as a coach. He's still in the Call of Duty scene, but not in the way that we expected. Vikul has decided to retire from competitive Call of Duty, which was a bit of a surprise, seeing as he's still relatively young. And we're going to do our 2025 CDL predictions. Who do I think is going to win at Champs? Because this is the CDL predictions, I will just say this now, we will not be talking about the Esports World Cup in this. And we're also going to be doing our predictions for this week's matches. Who is going to have a great start to the season? If you do enjoy this episode of the Roundup, please do like the video and comment what you enjoyed about it. If you are new as well, please do hit the subscription button. It is really appreciated. And make sure to follow me on any of other social medias, which I'll put in the description down below. But without further ado, let's just get straight into it. And the first thing we are going to be obviously talking about is Clayster, who was out of nowhere announced to be on the Vegas Falcons as part of the coaching staff. So he'll be coaching with Luty. They did play a video here.
A dream that seemed out of reach. Through countless hardships, trials, tribulations, I carved my path. The triumphs, the defeats, the long nights and the long days, every single moment built me into the person I am today. It wasn't just about winning, it was about proving something to myself. It was about proving that I belonged. It was about proving that I would succeed. It was about proving that you can follow your dreams. People always ask me why. Why keep pushing? Why keep grinding? This game means everything to me. I've made my mark, but I'm not done yet. This is the beginning. This is a new chapter. Time to make history.
So Clayster joins the Falcons staff. Look, Clayster's one of he was my current probably favourite pro outside of Optic last year and the years before that. I'm so gutted that he retired. The fact he was on 99 majors played, he didn't get to 100. Obviously, there could be a situation where he ends up, filling in for someone on stage like Marky B did once. That would be amazing if that happened, so he could get up to 100. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for him, especially because they have got the worst team in the league. I think it's a really good opportunity for Clayster, to be honest. But I would have liked to have seen him being on like the rocker, for example. But it is what it is. Obviously, if he would have got to 100 if he'd done the Esports World Cup, but Ravens dropped him. But yeah, I think that's a pretty cool move, to be fair. I know a lot of people say, oh, he probably got paid a lot to do it. Yeah, he probably did, but I don't think anyone else was looking for his close stuff as part of their coaching staff. So yeah, pretty cool move. And we'll have to see what happens with the Falcons. They're definitely an interesting one this year, especially because we don't know what the future is. Because if they do really bad, what are they going to do? Could they make a change? Clayster could easily come in and come out of retirement for the year or for a split. We'll just have to see ultimately. But yeah, obviously, well done to Clayster for getting this. I thought he was going to be on the desk. To be honest, I think everyone thought he was going to be on the desk after Major 4. But he's not going to be on the desk. He's going to be seeing the Falcons, who I do believe the Falcons have now finally dropped into the US. But I think they're going to really struggle for the first split. I think they're going to be really bad in the first split because it took them so long to get the visas sorted out and stuff like that. We'll have to just see. But moving on from Clayster, and this was a bit of a shock because this was only, less than 48 hours ago now. But Vikul with a out of nowhere statement saying after 2 incredible CDL seasons with Miami and Florida and an amazing one with Toronto Ultra and Challengers, he's just thanking everyone, and then it says, at 21 years old, it's time to continue his studies in mathematics, returning to university. And this just kind of came out of nowhere because his contract. It sounded like he was going to be a free agent at the end of the season, even though on the COD tracker it had him down for that. But then they announced that he was going to be part of the roster. Um, and yeah, obviously Vikul became a bit of a character towards the second half of last season. Because obviously the hatred toward the Optic Miami beef with Pred, and then obviously, originally came from this 3-0 in Major 1 from Miami against Optic, and then Optic kept beating them in Majors in the LAN events, and then they got their revenge in Major 4, and he said, like, fuck Optic, fuck the Green Wall, and stuff like that. And then when Champs played, Miami won a match against Seattle, I think it was. Was it Seattle? They beat someone, I can't remember who it is, and it might have been Seattle, and he was going off it at the crowd. But yeah, 21's obviously really young to retire, but he wants to do his study instead, that's fine. He achieved his dream as to become a Call of Duty player. I obviously wonder if he was going to be on the bench this year, potentially, because they've obviously bought Rencor in, but they've now just announced that Super is joining the team as well. Now, Super I thought would have been on the Heretics anyway this season. I think they've said until his visa's sorted out, he's going to still be playing in EU Challengers. So he's going to be on the bench, which means it's going to be Metals, Lucky, Rencor, and Real this season. But yeah, that's Vikul's COD career done. But definitely an interesting character. And I do think that like you've got like Scraps, obviously like the main character in terms of like the stuff I'm talking about, like the trash talking and stuff. And then you've got Draza, and Vikul was probably up there as well. But yeah, that's the end of Vikul. Moving on, it is now time for arguably the main event of this episode of the Roundup, and it is going to be the 2025 CDL predictions. So um we've obviously got Optic here, we've got FaZe, and we've got Thieves. These are obviously the main three teams this season, and then you've got some other teams towards the bottom, like just below them, which is like your Cloud9, your Toronto Ultra, maybe your Gentlemates, your Ravens. We don't really know how the rest of the field's going to go, but we expect this to be the top three. Obviously FaZe and Optic unchanged after FaZe won the Esports World Cup, but had a bad champs. Optic didn't do that. Tied third in Esports World Cup, but won champs. Obviously, it's a brand new Thieves team, except Ghosty. Obviously, Envoy's previously been on the Thieves, where he won a World Championship in 2022. Yeah, 2022 CDL World Champs. So we'll have to see how this goes. But first, the first prediction I'm going to do is the major winners. So I'm not going to specify which major each team wins. But I've gone for Optic to win one major, FaZe to win one major, and LA Thieves to win two majors. Now, I don't expect, like, I don't know what order it'll be in, but that's just my prediction. Now, last year I did predict Toronto. I predicted Toronto, Cloud9, but it was obviously New York Subliners then. Optic and FaZe to all win one each, and that's what happened. They all did win one each. But then I predicted, I can't remember who, I think I predicted Ultra to win champs and FaZe to be the runner-ups. Or the other way around, but obviously it was Optic who won against the Subliners. Obviously no team has won champs 2 years in a row. Could this be the year that happens? Well, we'll have to see. I didn't write this down, but obviously, like, the other thing I want to mention is any teams that could go on like a bit of a run during the major. I have a scenario plays in my head that Cloud9 get to a final. I don't know why, like to a grand final. That's my prediction, is that Cloud9, that's like my shock prediction, let's say, is that Cloud9 will get to a final this season. In the regular season. I'm not saying they're going to get to the final of Esports World Cup or Champs. Obviously, like I said, we're not talking about Esports World Cup here, because that's after the CDL season is finished, and this is just about the CDL season. It's after Champs is finished as well, isn't it? Which I don't like, but it's fine. Moving on, it's time for our of the year regular season predictions. I almost said awards there. The season hasn't started. It starts on Friday, and I cannot wait. So, regular season MVP, I am going to go with Shotzi. Now, Shotzi didn't win it. He won the Champs MVP. You know, you could arguably say it was like between him, Simp, Hydra, and Scrap as the best players last year. I'm going to go with Shotzi. I think this game is going to suit him very, very well. So, yeah, Shotzi's my MVP prediction for this season. In the regular season, Rookie of the Year. Now, I've gone for someone that isn't actually in the CDL yet, and a lot of people are doing that because you've only got 5 options. You've got Rencor from the Miami Heretics, and you've got the Vegas Falcon team. I'm going to go with Super because I think when he gets his chance, he's going to thrive. If he gets his chance. If he doesn't get his chance, I'll just go with Rencor. But I've seen some people saying, like, Encourage. Encourage is like an 18-year-old Challengers player, and he's really good, by the way. I expect him to have a very, 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 very bright career in Call of Duty, but he might not even be in the league this season, whereas I think Super, seeing as he signed onto a team, has more of a chance. Coach of the Year. Now, last year, my Coach of the Year went to Viors from the LA Gorillas. He's not actually going to be in the CDL this season, which is a shame. So I'm going to go with Accuracy. Obviously, Accuracy played on the Minnesota Rocker last season. This is his first season as a coach, but I'm going to go with Accuracy because I think Cloud9 are the 4th best team. I know some people will probably say that it's Toronto Ultra, but I think it's Cloud9. Or Gentlemates, obviously. You can choose who you want as your 4th. I'm going to go with Cloud9 at the moment. Oh, I like their roster a lot. And Sib was arguably the best player at Champs that wasn't on Optic. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. Now, most improved player. This was a really tough one, to be honest. But I've gone for Kremp because I think Kremp's inconsistencies played a major factor last season. And I think that he'll become more consistent this season with Accuracy's coaching and players like Attach and Sib and Mac to be around him because obviously the LA Thieves roster last year was very, very young, whereas this one has a bit more experience. Now, Kremp's obviously this is going to be his 2nd full season in the CDL. Actually, did start in challenges, didn't he, last season? But this is the first season where he's been on a team since the start, I think. I'm pretty sure. Because he was only in really briefly in Boston Breach in 2023, sorry, 2023. So yeah, I'll go with Kremp. Now, obviously these are awards that were kind of handed out to from the flank and breaking point, but hardpoint player of the year, I'm going to go with Hydra because he's just amazing at hardpoint. And I think that this Thieves team is going to be very, very good at hardpoint and control. I think that honestly S&D is going to be the weakness for this team, but then they've got great players like Envoy at S&D. They're going to be amazing, let's be honest. Search and Destroy player of the year, I'm going to go with a Beezy. I was a bit unsure on this one, but I've gone for a Beezy because I think he's pretty good at Search and Destroy. And obviously I kind of wanted to go for an SMG because it's going to be a game where I think the SMGs are going to be pretty good. Yeah, I'll go with a Beezy. But that one was pretty tough. You know, I could have gone for anyone, but I didn't want to just go for... I almost went for Envoy, to be fair, but I've gone for a Beezy. Control player of the year, I think he got it last year, Scrap. He's just ridiculous at control. No pun intended, but he does control the game every time he plays it. Superb player at COD, superb player at control, superb player at hardpoint. I'll go with Scrap. And then I've went for objective player of the year. I had to put Dashi there. He was clearly the best objective player last year, and I think he'll kind of have the same role this year. I know a lot of people were questioning the role he had last year because of the ability he's got, but he won the CDL championships. In my opinion, he was arguably the 2nd best AR in the game last year. If you take into consideration the fact that he won champs. So yeah, I'll go with Dashi. So, the next thing we have got is the first roster change, and I'm going to go with the team I don't like, and that is the Minnesota Rocker. And my prediction is that Paul X, or who's the other AR for Minnesota Rocker? Oh, it's Geo, isn't it? Geo's pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to go with Minnesota Rocker. Obviously, Clayster was linked with that role. It went to Paul X instead, who won challenges and fairly, you know, rightly deserved to be in the league. He had a good challenges, MVP at Challengers Champs. I think that if you get MVP at Challengers Champs, you should be getting another chance in the league. But last time he was on obviously that London Royal Ravens team, it didn't work out for him. So I think this is his last chance. I do think this is Paul X's last chance to be a CDL pro. So it's going to be big for him. Now, it's time to move on to the main part. the 2025 prediction. So here we go. Just buckle yourselves up because this one's gonna. I don't think it's that unpopular, but season prediction. Our 2025 champs will be the LA Thieves. I can't not say them. They just look amazing. They looked really good at KSAN Showdown 5 as well. I think there will be Optic in the final. I'm going to go with Optic to get second. Obviously, I know they don't want second. I think it's just going to be like Subliners last year. They have the chance to be the first ever team to get back-to-back CDL World Championships, but I don't think they're going to get it. Now, the Dark Horse and the Flops bit were really, really difficult. Now, I didn't think putting Cloud9 as a Dark Horse was really fair because people expect them to be the 4th or 5th best team anyway. So I've gone for the Carolina Royal Ravens. Now, I didn't actually realise, I forgot that Vivid had signed on to that team because I was having a look through the rosters. I like that roster a lot. I actually can't believe how good that Royal Ravens roster is on paper. Vivid as the flex, Slasher, TJ Halley, and Gwyn, or maybe TJ on the flex. Wow, I think that's an amazing team. And I think that they'll do very well. The flops was tough because I couldn't really put anyone that wasn't going to make champs, in my opinion. So I've gone with the worst name ever. I don't even think I mentioned this, right? Right, I'm calling them either LAG or Gentlemates. There's no in between. But obviously, because they didn't get the paperwork done in time, it's a mixture. So they are actually called Los Angeles Gorillas Mate. Yeah, I know. What the fuck is happening? So you can either call them LAG. Like, I'll probably just call them LAG or Gentlemates, but I just put the full name there. It's ridiculous, though. Final to MVP. Now, last year, I think it was actually given for Champs MVP rather than, like, the finals. I'm going to go with Hydra anyway on both. Yeah, I think Hydra will have himself a series and ultimately win Thieves their second ring. And the 4 teams that don't make champs, in my opinion, is Minnesota Rocker, Vegas Falcons, Boston Breach, and Miami Heretics. I think this one, honestly, I don't think there's going to be a... Who else actually is there, right? Because, in my opinion, Gentlemates, Ravens, Optic, Thieves, FaZe, Cloud9, Ultra will all easily make champs. And then I think Seattle Surge will. I actually don't... My honest prediction is there is not going to be a race to champs this season. There has been the last couple of years, and obviously Clayster's been involved in both of them. I don't think there's going to be a race for champs this season. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think these are the 4 worst teams comfortably. Maybe that's unpopular. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what the season's going to have. A lot of people had Ravens as a dark horse last season when it was Real, TJ. It was Real, Gwyn, God RX, and Claire. You know what I mean? Anything can obviously happen, but that's just my predictions for the 2025 CDL season. I'm just not sure about some of these teams. My issue for that Gentlemates team is not Linz, but if they're replacing Hydra with Linz, yeah, it's a downgrade, obviously. Hydra's an amazing player. Linz is a solid player. Gentlemates obviously wanted a French player because Gentlemates is a French organisation. That's fine. I think Linz is a great pickup, but Skies and Priester and Kismet might have the teamwork of the 2023 CDL champs for the subliners, but I do not like that air duo. Kids with Skies and Priester, way too slow. Priester had a terrible year last year on the Boston Breach. He's kind of friendshipped his way back into the league here. Very, very lucky to be in the league, in my opinion. I don't hate any of the rosters that are in the bottom 4. Yeah, I would like to have seen Clown the Rocker, that's fine. The Falcons, we don't know, ultimately, if the Falcons stay with the Saudi thing all season, they are not making champs. I like Xnid. That's about it. Miami could easily make champs, to be fair. Like, I don't know why I feel like kind of harsh on just singling out Miami here. They've probably got the best chance of the 4. The Boston Breach team isn't bad, but it's not great. They did okay at Esports World Cup, top 8. Got out of the groups. But Miami, I think Miami will finish 9th. Like, my prediction for Miami last year was that they were going to go on a run in a major, which is obviously what I've said Cloud9 are going to do. But I said Cloud9 would get to a final, whereas I said I think Miami would get top 4, get to Champ Sunday. I don't think they did, but they did get close. But obviously Rocker went on a run in major. Most of the time, if there's going to be a team making a run, it's either at the end of the season or at the start, never in the middle. Because at the start of the season, everyone's kind of getting used to being back in the CDL, you know, updates, new maps start to come in, it all changes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with those predictions, and I do think that that'll be what'll happen. I'd love to see Optic could win. Obviously I predicted them to come top 6 at champs, and they won it, so we'll have to just see. But obviously they were in a really bad patch then. Optic FaZe or Thieves could easily win champs. It's just having to pick one of them. Right, Friday's match, the first match of the 2025 season is LAG versus Rocker. It's weird because LAG actually have a good roster this year, but they did get top 3 at a major last year. This is what I mean. It's just, I hate the fact that they're LAG because they're not, the gentlemates, but I'm going to just call them either. We're not going to talk about it no more. Right, LAG versus Rocker. I'm going to go with, oh, by the way, I'll tell you the rosters. So LAG is Lynn's, Sky's, Priest of Kismet, and Rocker is Paul X, Geo, Estriel, and Nero. I'm going to go with first game of the season. I think it'll be an exciting one. I'll go 3-1 to the Gorillas. 3-1 Gentlemates. Yeah, 3-1. Then we have got Optic Texas versus Boston Bridge. Optic are the second team on this year. I'm excited for it. But I'm going to go with 3-1 Optic. I think Boston might take the search, let's say. But yeah, 3-1 Optic. Then we have the Vegas Falcons CDL debut against the Ravens. Oh, the teams. Optic is obviously Kenny, Pred, Shotzi, and Dashi. Boston is Cammy, Awakening, Purge, and Snoopy. Then we have the Vegas Falcons versus the Carolina Royal Ravens. I'm actually not 100% on the Falcons roster. I'm just gonna get this confirmed. So it's Xnid, King of Body, Roxas, and LDX. Saldex. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, so I do apologise. My prediction is 3-0 to the Ravens. I think it'll be a pretty easy 3-0. And then the last game on Friday, gotta just check the times here, is FaZe versus Ultra. Wow, this would have been a matchup last season. I still think it'll be a good game. I'm going to go to a map 5 and I'm going to say 3-2 to FaZe. I think, obviously, it's Draza, Celium, Simperbeezy again, against Insight, Kleenex, and then Beans and Joe Deceives have joined the roster. I'll go 3-2 FaZe. I remember FaZe 3-2 versus Boston Breach first day of last season as well. And then we move on to Saturday and we have Miami versus Vegas Falcons. No offense, Falcons. I'm going 3-0 again. Obviously, we've said the Falcons roster. Miami's roster is Rencor, Metals, Vikul. No, it's not. It's Metals, Real, Lucky, and Rencor. Vikul no more. Then we've got Minnesota Rocker versus Boston Bridge. Now, this is a tough one to predict. I'm going to go with 3-2 to Rocker. But it's going to be a 3-2 either way. Boston might be getting used to them game 5s again, like last year. Then we've got 2 more games on the Saturday. We have got Vancouver Surge, which is O4, Abuza, Nasty, and Hixie against Toronto Ultra. I like that Surge roster. I'm really happy Hixie got a spot in the league. I think he deserved it. I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with 3-2 to Surge. I've got Surge pulling a bit of an upset here because I know it's not the same Toronto Ultra as last year, but I still think Surge winning is an upset because Kleenex was an amazing player last year and Insight is an amazing player. Beans had a solid statistic season, not winning though, and Joe Deceives had a really good Esports World Cup and champs until he started trying to shut the Optic players off. That didn't work. And our final game, we do see 2 other teams making their debuts, or 1 brand new team, and obviously the super team. So we have LA Thieves, which is Ghosty, Hydra, Scrap, and Envoy, and Cloud9, which is Mac, Kremp, Attach, and Sib. I don't think this would be a 3-0 to LA Thieves, but I do think they'll win this 3-1. I think it'll be a pretty comfortable start for them as they get ready for the new season. Now, LA Thieves, I know it's a Los Angeles team, but I believe they're playing in Texas, and I believe Cloud9 are playing in California because Cloud9's base, like esports base, is in California. So yeah. Then we've got Gentlemates versus Royal Ravens on the Sunday. This is Sunday's matches. So we have got 12 matches to start the season off, which is nice. Obviously, the only issue is there's a massive break after a couple of weeks. So there might not be any episodes of the roundup then. Right, Gorillas versus Ravens. I'll go with 3-1 to the Ravens. I think 3-1 to Ravens. Then we've got Miami Heretics versus Vancouver Surge. And I'm going to go with 3-1 to Surge there. I don't think there'll be many 3-0s. Then the last two games, wow. The CDL made sure that the last two games were banging to finish off week one. Cloud9 versus Optic. And I'm going to go with 3-1 to Optic. I think Optic will take this one. I think they've just got a bit more firepower in the SMGs. I think the AI players are but all four are really good. But I just think they will have more in the sub department to take down Cloud9 in 4 maps. And then, wow. What the hell is going to happen in this game? FaZe versus Steve, Scrap versus Draza, round 1. This is going to be 3-2 to FaZe. I think FaZe will take this one. I think they just have that more of a teamwork. They'll have more teamwork because they've played together longer than the Thieves. And I think Draza will start the beef and we'll have a very exciting season, hopefully. But yeah, I'm going to go with FaZe 3-2, but I think that's one that could definitely swing either way, to be honest. Everyone is playing this week, aren't they? I haven't... So 6, 8, Heretics 9, Surge 10, Cloud9 thing. Yeah, I was going to say everyone has to play this week. But as you can see on the schedule, after Sunday the 15th / Monday the 16th, last game, then there's like a 4-week break. Like, crap. I get why. It's basically 3.5, isn't it? It's for the festive period. I completely understand that. Oh, it comes back to a minor tournament as well, which will be exciting when we can talk more about them when we get closer to it, obviously. But anyway, that is going to be the end of episode 22 of the Roundup. Please let me know your predictions down below. Just do like your champs, runner-up, dark horse flop, MVP, rookie of the year, stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think down below. And yeah, that is going to be the end of this episode of the Roundup. If you have enjoyed, please do like the video. It's really appreciated. Subscribe if you are new, of course. And yeah, until the next episode, which will be out next Wednesday. This one's obviously going to be out Wednesday as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.